Hello everyone, this is False Mind Reads, and today I bring you a review of Shadow of the Torturer by Wolfe. So, I I read this book. I was looking for something quick to read, right? I was like, what could be what's a small book, um, and I'm thinking smaller than 1,000 pages, right? I don't want to read no 1,000 page books before the end of the year, before at least 2025. And so I decided on Kraken by China Mieville. And then when that wasn't clicking for me, I started reading the Echo of Things to Come by James Islington. Sorry, bud. Um, and as that wasn't, I realized that wasn't really working for me either. My vision kept sliding over to this spine. And to be truthful with you, just full transparency, Shadow of the Torturer and the entirety of the Book of the New Sun is like one of those novel series. Like it's one of those novels and one of those series that I really just I always imagine myself having read it. And not let me correct. I didn't think I had already read it, but like I never really pictured myself and thought of myself as reading, right? Just as pre and post. And that happens, that happens a lot. Like in Malazan, I was like, well, I'm never going to read The Crippled God. I'm going to have read The Crippled God. And then I'm reading it and I'm like, huh, this is awesome. And that's kind of what I experienced with this, except less this was awesome and more this is interesting. Because Shadow of the Torturer, it's an oddly structured book. It's about 260 pages, at least this copy is. And you go from Severian, is the main character's name. You go from his childhood. It's a recounting of his life. So he is older now, kind of in the style of King Killer. But this was way better than King Killer in a lot of ways, even though it has a lot of the same flaws. But he starts at a certain spot, and then he comes up, slowly up, and then he gets kicked out of the Torturers Guild, and he has to go. And so the story is really split into two. It's Torturers Guild, post-Torturers Guild. And the post-Torturers Guild material kind of dragged. I don't know. I think I was averaging about 30 pages a day. And I think that I could have done a lot more. Well, for one, the writing style is just complex, right? It's just a complex book. And that's like, it's okay, not complex. That's the wrong word. Dense. It's a dense book. The structure of his prose are dense. But the contents are, well, interesting. Sometimes it's like they're on this quest to get this flower, and I'm like, okay. And then they go into this room, and then into this room, and then into that room, and this is the right room this time, but then they do this, and then this happens, and it's like, oh my god. Can we get the flower? Can we get the flower? Can we move on? And eventually with these type of stories, usually when you're like, can we just fast forward? And then you're through it and you're like, what was I even complaining about? But I know what I was complaining about. I remember complaining about it. And big surprise there. But yeah, it's just I'm still gonna read. I didn't have a bad time. I didn't have a bad time with this book, but I had a time that wasn't pure joy. Which challenging books should kind of make you feel something, I guess. So I'm not complaining. But yeah, this edition, the Shadow and Claw Tour Essentials edition, it's one of those ones where the cover is fully like printed on. So under this, there's just white. And it's starting to like peel off. It's not that bad, but like a little bit, like it's curling up and peeling off. So hopefully I'm able to read Claw the Conciliator before I completely ruin this edition. But also, so this was actually like I kind of had to understand why. So I kind of spun myself on the translator's note. But so the appendix, a note on the translation, right? Gene Wolfe basically says this is a text from the future, and basically he's translating, instead of like Tolkien was translating into a language that used to exist. Gene Wolfe is saying he's translating into a language that doesn't exist yet, or out of a language that doesn't exist yet. So it like he uses these very hyper specific words for stuff, and it happened when Severian was walking to me. Like, my most prominent example is he was walking, looking at the canals when he had just been banished, and he sees something. I forget the word, but it's like I looked it up, because most of these you can kind of guess by context clues, right? And I looked it up, and at first it came up as a bird, and I was like, okay, well, it's probably not the bird because it's describing a ship. And then I looked up the ship, and it's like an ancient Greek fishing vessel, and I was like, oh, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? An ancient Greek fishing vessel? And then of course it's kind of remedied by the fact that it's not the ancient Greek fishing vessel. It's a type of ship that hasn't really been invented yet, and an ancient Greek fishing vessel is just mysterious enough for us to be like, okay, this seems vaguely fantastical. Sure. But yeah, I don't know. It was okay. I ended up giving it a 3.75 because, like, I did like it more consistently than something like Name of the Wind, which I gave it 4 stars. But Name of the Wind had higher highs and lower lows, which, the higher highs make an impression. And I had a lot of fun reading that up until the end. But this book, it really dragged in the middle, and kind of like it didn't really recover that much. I don't know. I'm still interested. I'm still drawn to this series because more than just pure enjoyment, right? I'm probably gonna read Claw the Conciliator after some other reads. I'll get to it basically soon, is what I'm saying. Thank you for watching this review. Bye. Have a good day. Leave a like, subscribe. Bye. Bye. Why are you watching this part of the video? Bye.